Welcome to Combat Sports Talk, a podcast dedicated to UFC and Bellator discussion, the MMA community, and combat sports in general. I'm your host, Ryan Smith, and joining me this week is the man with the keys to victory, John Keys.
Hello, everybody.
Hey.
How is it? Hey, what's going on, man?
Things are great.
I'm sorry I missed out last week, but I found the end of the internet, and my God, it's full of stars. All right.
That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yes. But I do come back with facts.
Okay, what facts do you have? What facts do you have for us this week?
Oh, today is Teddy Roosevelt's birthday. You do know that, right?
I did not know that.
Well, did you know? You probably didn't know that he was actually he was an avid boxer. And
I did know
he
that.
was the first known American ever to receive a brown belt in judo.
I did not know that. That is awesome.
Yes. Also, this one is hard to wrap around, but I was like, okay, that's kind of cool. There is a group of women in the Ukraine,
okay,
that have formed a modern day Amazon tribe known as Asgarda.
Asgarda. That's interesting.
Yes. Their goal is to have complete autonomy from men, and they train in different martial arts and sciences, and they live in the Carpathian Mountains. The thing is, though, we haven't heard from them since about 2013.
Oh.
So,
well, maybe that's by design.
Maybe. I don't know. It's kind of scary. Not for the fact that there are, an Amazon tribe that's out there, but it's the fact that they've disappeared. And last but not least,
okay,
Bob Barker. You remember Bob Barker? Price is Right.
I do.
Before Drew Carey. Do you not know he's a black belt in karate?
I did not know that.
Under Chuck Norris and his brother Aaron.
No way.
Yes. And here's the kicker part. That fight that they had in Happy Gilmore that he had with Adam Sandler, he volunteered for that one.
He did his own stunts on that one.
Yes.
Okay.
So, FYI. There is another
cool.
one I have, but I'm saving that for KC.
You say that one for KC. Well, unfortunately, KC wasn't feeling very well tonight. Maybe he'll show up on the in the audience and send us some messages. Or Coach on Tuesday nights, of course, we typically record on Monday nights so Coach can attend because he has late training sessions on Tuesday night. So it's really hard for him to make the show on Tuesday night. So Coach may show up at the very tail end of the show, and if he does, we'll have to get his take on all the action that took place on this weekend and the headlines that happened, yesterday and today that we'll be talking about during the show. Okay, with that, Indeed. So let's go ahead and get into it. Here's the big thing is that, there was a huge pay-per-view on Saturday afternoon.
You don't say.
We didn't get to talk about it as much because it was, normally we do a live show during the main event, but unfortunately, because it was at 1:00 in the afternoon and we all have lives and families, we couldn't just dedicate that time to doing a live show right in the middle of the fight. So
exactly,
I was on a football field coaching flag football. Looking at my phone, going, "What down is it? Is it second down? Oh, okay. Who's winning? What?
They did what?
They did what? I know I shouldn't spoil this for myself, but I gotta see who won." So by the time I got home, the fight was already over, and and so we'll talk about it. Let's go ahead and get into it, shall we? This is Let me find my cursor though. This is the official decision. This is the official decision. This is where we look at the fights from Saturday night or Saturday afternoon, and we have a barn burner with UFC 254, Khabib versus Gaethje. Saturday, October 24th, 2020, at the Flash Forum on Yas Island, Fight Island in Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. We had 6 fights on the card. Magomed and Kalev defeated Ion Cutelabra via KO in the first round. Now, they basically said that was just a barn burner between the two guys. They fought. I read one report said it seemed like they fought forever, but it didn't last very long. Just almost one round.
Yeah, well, that was it. So close yet so far away from that second round.
That's right. But, sometimes people don't get the pleasure of making it to the second round. Lauren Murphy defeated Lilia Shakirova via submission, a rear naked choke at 3:31 in round 2. Lauren Murphy says she's tired of being looked over for title shots. She is ready for that title shot. She is ready to go. So, I hope that they give her her wish. It's 125 pounds, so that means she would have to fight someone by the name of Valentina Shevchenko. I don't know if she wants that smoke.
And and apparently she does. And and to her detriment, I'd never heard of Lauren Murphy. So she's right. We need to quit overlooking her. Okay, throw her in the ring in the lion den, and let's see what's what.
Yeah, she's as good as any. I don't think that there's anybody at 125 that's going to touch her. If maybe Eubanks, Shajara Eubanks goes back from 135 to 125, maybe she would have Shajara Eubanks would be a better shot for maybe getting Valentina Shevchenko to break a sweat.
Maybe.
Maybe. It's getting to the point now where I kind of believe that Valentina Shevchenko is going to be like Casey at the bat, that she's going to start doing things just to see if she can make it more challenging for herself. Like, okay, in round 1, I'm only going to throw jabs. In round 2, I'm only throwing crosses. Round 3, leg kicks.
We've seen this before. It's happened before. We've seen that. A Muay Thai champion did that. Tong Po from Kickboxer. In the first round, he only used the jabs. He pointed to the point. This is what I'm using.
So when you said we've seen it before, you weren't meaning that we've seen a fighter do this. You are saying that we saw this choreographed and scripted in a way that a fighter would be able to successfully only throw one punch for an entire round. That's what you're saying.
You've never seen Kickboxer?
I mean, I may have seen Kickboxer. I saw Bloodsport.
No. Kickboxer was the second movie. It was the second movie that starred Van Damme in a lead role, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, Kickboxer. He pointed. He's like, and that's all he did. And not only did he only throw jabs, he only threw the hand, that left hand. That's all he used. Then the second round, he used the elbow. Third round, he used the knee. He was doing that. Had the ponytail and everything.
All right. Well, I don't recall that, but for those of you out there, if you remember the kickboxing only throwing one hand, maybe we can challenge Valentina Shevchenko at 125 by doing that. But otherwise, I don't see anybody. Lauren Murphy can get that smoke, but I don't think she's gonna make any difference. So go for it. I just want to see Valentina fight.
Are we at that moment in UFC where the champions are like super dominant? And I mean, when we talk about champion and challengers, it's literally champion way up here and challengers kind of like right here now. I mean, are we at that moment?
I think we've got a lot of those. So if we were to start to go through it, I think we'll start with the women. Zhang Weili at 115. Mm-hmm. Once I saw what she did to Joanna Jędrzejczyk, I'm a huge Joanna Jędrzejczyk fan. But once I saw that, I'm like, maybe Thug Rose can do something, but if Thug Rose gets beaten up like Joanna did, then I'm gonna say it. Yes, Zhang Weili. Of course, Valentina Shevchenko. She's way head and shoulders over everybody. Of course, Amanda Nunes. She's got 135 and 145 locked down. I don't think that Megan Anderson is going to do much of anything, coming up. So when we start looking at the at 125 on the men's side with Davis and Figueroa, I don't think we've seen enough of him to be able to declare that. 135, of course, you've got Peter Yan. He hasn't defended his title yet. You've got Aljamain Sterling. You got Corey Sandhagen waiting in the wings. So I don't think you really have a chance to see that. Volkanovski, definitely not. He's not the dominant champion there because, by many accounts, he may have lost that round. Specifically for me, I don't believe that he lost the second fight to Max Holloway. 155, you could have said that Khabib Nurmagomedov is the dominant champion and head and shoulders over everyone else, given his performance this weekend, which we will talk about. At 170, I don't think you can really say that Kamaru Usman has that division locked down yet. That was a real close fight with Colby Covington, and I think Gilbert Burns is going to give him a run for his money. Of course, 185, I don't think anybody's touching Israel Adesanya. Then you've got 205. I don't think that, we don't have a title defense yet from Jan Blachowicz, and John Jones, I think, had been that dominant champion for so long, but the Dominic Reyes fight, which I had Dominic Reyes winning that fight, I don't think that John Jones has it locked down. And then Stipe Miocic, while he is the greatest heavyweight champion the UFC's ever had, I don't think that he's got it locked down. He's still got to face off against Francis Ngannou one more time. John Jones is coming up there. You've got a lot of heavyweights that need a shot.
You really think that Stipe is better than, let's say, a Cain Velasquez? You think he really is?
I do, because when you start thinking about Cain Velasquez, then it's one of those things where he did something that we didn't think he could do, which was he took out Brock Lesnar. He won the trilogy against Junior Dos Santos, but after you get past that, you don't really have that dominant a resume, in my opinion, from Cain Velasquez.
Because he got hurt, but then again, you're looking at a time when the heavyweight division wasn't as much of a Shark Tank as it is now. I mean, I hate doing what ifs, but what if Cain Velasquez actually had a Shark Tank like this? Could he still be considered a dominant force?
No.
Yeah.
No, I don't think so. He's an amazing wrestler, and I don't want anyone to think that I am dissing Cain Velasquez in any way. I don't think that he had to face, he's fighting Bigfoot Silva and stuff like that.
Exactly.
Whereas
He wasn't.
You got Francis Ngannou and Curtis Blades and Alexander Volkov.
I would love
and
to have
Derek
seen him
Beast
against
Lewis. It's like all of these guys. Like I don't know, man.
I would have loved to see him against these guys.
Well, if he
To
hadn't,
put his.
I was going to say, if he hadn't have buckled against Francis Ngannou, we might have seen it. But his knee buckled, and Francis Ngannou clipped him, and that was it for his career.
Which says a lot about Ngannou's power.
Power. All right.
I'm gonna go wrestle for real.
I'll be a professional wrestler, right? Phil Hawes defeated Jacob Malkoun 18 seconds. Now, I think he landed more than just one punch, but he didn't land. He didn't have time to land much more than one punch. Walt Harris was defeated by Alexander Volkov. I have to credit Kalechi on this one, because I was going to pick Walt Harris in my flash fight picks, and he goes, "Wait, where is Alexander Volkov from?" I'm like, "Oh, let me go and look. Oh, he's from Russia." Rule number one: never bet against the Russians. Take your drink, by the way. And Alexander Volkov defeated Walt Harris, and it was an impressive defeat too, because
it was a
Walt
liver
Harris
kick.
starts fast. It wasn't a liver kick. Go back and watch it.
Right.
He catches him right in the sternum. You know, if you ever suck your belly in, you get that little knob. Yeah, that solar plexus. He did a teep kick right on the button. And if you ever suck your belly in and show your ribs, you'll see that there's a little knob right there where your rib cage comes together.
Oh yeah, right here. It's right here.
He caught him right there.
And people, if you ever want to see somebody throw up everything, hit them right there with everything you got. Okay, they're guaranteed to go down, and they're guaranteed to probably throw up everything. Okay,
yeah.
It is a nasty shot.
And that's exactly what happened to Walt Harris. It was instantaneous, the moment, and it was just a straight front teep kick. Boom, right to the spot. He went down immediately. Everyone thought it was a groin shot, but when they went back and watched it, the ref clearly saw it, didn't call it a groin shot, but the commentators thought it was a groin shot, and the next thing you know, it's the fight's called off. It was a beautiful kick. And so therefore I was correct. You might have noticed on the back of Alexander Volkov, he had this huge traditional Japanese tattoo on his back. Rumor has it that he had that thing done. It's massive. He had it done in 2 weeks. Like,
oh wow.
Yeah, like a full back tattoo, traditional Japanese. I forgot the name of the mask. It's not a kabuki mask, but it's the scary mask.
It's the Oni mask.
Yeah, he had that done in 2 weeks. He said it was very, very painful.
Yeah, if he did it the traditional way, they had the needle and they just.
Oh no, I don't think it was a traditional application. It was just a traditional style of Japanese mask. I've been watching a lot of Ink Master, so I'm more well versed in tattooing. I don't have any tattoos, but I do enjoy watching the process of people getting tattooed in clip format. Like, I couldn't watch the show, but I love Ink Master. I love watching the highlights of these tattoo artists do amazing things with ink and a needle. In the co-main event, Robert Whittaker defeated Jared Cannonier via unanimous decision. Now, I have to go on record and say, last week I said Robert Whittaker is a complete fighter, and everybody was giving me grief because Kalechi was giving me grief. Coach was giving me grief. I don't remember you giving me grief, but you were probably thinking about giving me grief on me saying Robert Whittaker was a complete fighter and that he could do some damage against Jared Cannonier.
I will be the first one to say that I thought that he was outclassed. I'll be the first one to say it. And he went in there. And I don't know if he heard me and was like, "Oi, watch this," and went out there. And I mean, he did the deed and did it well. And I was like, wow.
You may not have heard my pick though, because we all picked Jared Cannonier, so we got to play that crow sound. All of us are eating crow on that one. We didn't have faith in the Reaper, and we had to pay the price. Jared Cannonier said that early in the fight, Robert Whittaker kicked him in the arm and broke his arm.
Wow.
And so Jared Cannonier fought the rest of the fight, and not only did he fight the rest of the fight, but he fought the fight to a 29-28, 2-1 score. So he won a round with a broken arm. So let's not count Jared Cannonier out. I mean, the dude got his wing clipped. Props to Robert Whittaker to have the power to do that on such a big, strong guy, you know. Yeah. But now it's like Dana White was asked, does Robert Whittaker get another shot at Israel Adesanya? And Dana White said, yeah, that's the next fight.
That's interesting that he would say that, though. You know, let's see how he holds up with the lightweight situation, because I want to see if he's willing to give somebody else a shot like that.
You know,
we'll talk about it more.
Yeah, okay, because I mean, the fight hasn't been booked, or you know, there's nothing. It was just Dana White talking after the event, but he said that it made sense that the next fight for Robert Whittaker would be the rematch against Israel Adesanya. I think it's fair. I'm not mad at it.
I'm not mad at it either.
I like both of them, but who else you going to put up there? There's some other people I think that we could pick. In the main event of the evening, Khabib Nurmagomedov defeated Justin Gaethje via submission triangle choke at 134 in round number 2. This was actually a really good fight.
This was a very good fight. It was a genius fight. It's very rare where it's a unanimous consensus, and not just with the people who aren't fighters, but the people who are fighters. When they unanimously agree that he is a superior fighter, that Khabib is a superior fighter in that division, if not of all time. And I like it. I agree. I think Khabib, besides carrying himself as a champion, when he's in that ring, it says something when you know exactly how he fights. You know exactly how he throws his punches. You know exactly how he does his takedown, and you still lose. What kind of fighter is that? That everybody knows what he's going to do, and he still does it, and does it like he did it on Saturday.
Well, we're definitely going to get into that, but I want to talk a little bit more about the fights before we get into the legacy of Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Okay.
So in the first round, I saw a lot of people disputing whether or not Khabib won the first round, because on the judges' scorecard they had it that Khabib won the first round. I scored it using my system, and I had Justin Gaethje edging out Khabib in the first round. So Justin Gaethje landed some very powerful leg kicks, and so for those of you, go back and read the methodology on the website www.combatsportstalk.com, so you can see that you can see the methodology as I'm talking about it. But here's the deal. Justin Gaethje throws a lot of leg kicks, throws a lot of powerful leg kicks. It's an offensive weapon. And so there were a lot of leg kicks that Justin Gaethje threw, but there are some leg kicks that actually turned Khabib and unbalanced him. He also landed some big strikes. Khabib mainly landed jabs, a lot of glancing blows and things like that during the fight. He was able to take Justin Gaethje down in the first round, put I think it was more like an Americana or an omoplata on him, like an armbar kind of thing. It was not the traditional armbar. But I didn't feel like that it was enough to overcome the 3 major big shots that Justin Gaethje landed in the first round. So while a lot of people might have scored the takedown and submission attempt at the end of the round to give that round to Khabib Nurmagomedov, based on my methodology, I scored it in favor of Justin Gaethje. Didn't matter whether you gave it to Khabib Nurmagomedov or Justin Gaethje, because in the second round, it was very quick. Khabib Nurmagomedov took Justin Gaethje down and went from a takedown, double leg takedown, to mount, and from mount went into a triangle. And it looked like Justin Gaethje was trying to submit, trying to tap, but the ref was not in the right position, and so he ended up going to sleep.
Yeah.
And as a result, Khabib Nurmagomedov crawled off of Justin Gaethje, went to the center of the octagon, basically, kowtowed himself down, kind of in the fetal position or child's pose if you're a yogini, and broke down and cried. And I mean, it was a very emotional moment for Khabib. I think for all of us watching, because I did get a chance to watch that fight, to see him release all of that built-in, that pent-up hurt and pain and loss, all that emotion finally had a chance to come out. His work was done.
Yeah. You got the sense that was it. When you saw him in the ring and all that emotion just pouring out, you just knew something. You just knew that this was going to be the last fight. That's what I gathered from it before he even said it. That if he didn't retire right then and there, that come Monday he was going to retire.
Wow. Well, that's what he did. He in the post-fight comments, he was taking off his gloves. He dropped them in the center of the ring, and he walked away from the sport. One of the interesting things that came out of this was a story that Daniel Cormier told after the fight, and that it was that as they were getting closer to the fight, he learned that Justin Gaethje does not tap in a submission. And so what he decided to do was, rather than go for the armbar, which, because Justin Gaethje's parents had never flown out of the United States, that they were there at ringside watching their son fight for the title. There's so many stories wrapped around that. If you haven't heard all of the Justin Gaethje parents coming from small town Arizona to get to the big show, this big scene where just him making the show money would be enough to retire his parents. Like, it's all these great stories of this guy making it up the ladder to finally fight for the title against arguably the greatest lightweight in the history of the UFC. He wouldn't tap. And so what ended up happening is Khabib Nurmagomedov chose to go with the triangle choke so that he didn't hurt Justin Gaethje in front of his parents. That's the kind of champion
real fighter. That's a real man right there. That not only did he, I'm pretty sure he was going to beat the crap out of him had he didn't know that, but he changed up mid-game and put him in a sleeper. But that's Sambo. Okay, that's just a facet of Sambo. That it's a mixture of strikes and submissions, mostly heel hooks with Sambos, but they do have a triangle choke in there. So, it's like, what else did you expect out of this fight other than great storyline? This was probably the best unmarketed storylines that the UFC has ever had and never used. There was too many storylines. It was literally softballs of storylines after storylines.
Oh yeah,
that the UFC could have used.
Oh yeah, and so that's where we'll leave this segment. We're gonna go into the next segment. We've already already stole our thunder, but right after the fight, Khabib Nurmagomedov retired. So let's talk about it in the headliner. All right, this is the headliner. This is where we talk about the things that we want to talk about, the number one story on the show, and that is the retirement of Khabib Nurmagomedov. So he retires at 29-0. Undefeated UFC fighter announces emotional retirement after latest victory. I got this story not from Bloody Elbow, not from MMA Mania, MMA Fighting. I got it from CNN. What?
Okay, so not only do we have arguably the best fighter in the world, but he is cross streams.
He made it to CNN. Like that's what's crazy to me, right? The reason why I chose this article is just number one, to test whether or not people would consider this fake news, because he actually did retire.
We're not deep stating this, okay? We're not doing that here. Okay, we're not doing it here. All
but
right?
it was significant enough a retirement that news outlets like CNN picked it up. That's how big a deal it is.
I think I don't even think they picked up when George St. Pierre retired.
I don't think they did.
I think they picked it up when he won against Matt Serra. I think they did, but they didn't pick it up when he retired.
That's too long ago. That seems
I know.
like eons ago. But
yeah, I know.
But so let's talk about it. The reason why Khabib Nurmagomedov retired is in part because his father, Abdulmanap Nurmagomedov, passed away earlier this summer due to complications resulting from COVID-19. And so when you start thinking about what his father represented in his fight life and his fight career, and who his father was as a coach, as a wrestling coach, and what he served, not having that person in his corner made his desire to fight and continue fighting something that wasn't really worth the squeeze anymore. And so his mother did not want him to take the Gaethje fight. And so he had already taken that, and he said, listen, this will be my last fight, that I will not go in there without my father. I will fight this one fight, and then I will no longer fight. And he made that promise to his mother, and he said that he gave his word to his mother, and so he has to follow this, and he left the gloves in the middle of the ring. So, you know, the story of Khabib Nurmagomedov continues to grow. Like, we're getting all of these dimensions of this fighter that is, you know, a dominant fighter, but is also cares about his opponent enough not to break an arm because he knows he's not going to tap, to keep his word to his mother and throw away a career where he was the most dominant fighter in his division and
in his prime,
because he made a promise to his mother. So that's the champion that Khabib Nurmagomedov is.
How are you going to be mad? Is my question.
Can't be mad at him. You can't be mad at him. I mean, you can only respect him for doing that. So he leaves the UFC with a strikes landed per minute at 4.1, with a striking accuracy of 48%, and he absorbs only 1.75. So that discrepancy, that ratio, 4-to-1 strikes that he lands to his opponents, really goes to show how he was able to fight so many fights and never get a scratch on it.
Right. And I mean, his takedown. Look at his takedown.
Yeah, his
single leg
5.3.
Yeah. Then his takedown defense is 84%. You were not going to get him down more often than not.
Yeah.
You were not going to do it.
That's right.
And the most important stat, he's a Virgo. My Virgo brother.
Oh, wow. Well, there's finally a good one.
Really?
Yeah,
really?
Coming from the Taurus the Bull, baby, right there.
Yeah.
There
well, at least we know what that is.
We know what we
Freddie
produce.
Mercury, Michael Jackson, Beyonce, Salma Hayek.
See, it scares me, John, that you know all of these people. Wait, are all those Virgos or are all those Tauruses?
All those are Virgos, my friend.
Oh.
Michael Jackson is a Virgo.
No, Michael Jackson was a Virgo.
Oh.
Freddie Mercury was
soon.
a Virgo.
Too soon. Too soon for you. Okay. Too soon. All right. Shame on thee.
Well,
any rate.
So yeah, I just wanted to spend a little time just looking back at Khabib Nurmagomedov's career. You know, there was some really big fights. I guess the biggest fight of his career was the fight against Conor McGregor. That's the one that had so much bad blood leading up to it. We had the incident in Brooklyn where Conor McGregor threw the hand truck or the dolly through the bus window trying to get at Khabib Nurmagomedov because Nurmagomedov accosted Artem Lobov in the hotel with his boys.
You want to get all wait. You want to get all formal with it? He was accosted. You know, did they pull out musket pistols and dare to duel?
Okay, all right. They
he got hemmed up by his homies. Okay, his homies, Khabib and his homie, hemmed them up in a corner and had his hand on him like Bane did. Old boy in Dark Knight Returns, talking about, do you feel powerful now? Do you feel like you're in control? Had him by the back of his head. It was like, you mine. And Conor and his boys saw that, and they're like, oh snap. And so they were getting gassed up on Proper 12 on the way over here.
That's right.
Which, you know, once again, that's a 12 to 18-hour trip that nobody sat there and said, hey, man, I don't know if we should go there and start some stuff. Nobody said that. They all got there, and it all went down.
It all went down.
That's how you're supposed to say it.
The fight got scheduled. The press conferences were heated Conor McGregor insulting Khabib Nurmagomedov in everything from his heritage, his religion, his marriage. Everything got insulted, and it finally, at UFC 229, they faced off, and in round 4, Khabib Nurmagomedov was able to submit Conor McGregor, and then that started the infamous brawlhalla, if you will.
Yes.
And Khabib Nurmagomedov jumped the cage eagle style,
Yes.
and fought inside the crowd. There were Khabib's boys going after Conor, and it was just a wild scene. And it was really the first time that we saw Khabib, who had always been respectful, who had always been calm and control, finally lose it.
Yeah, and every bit of it was well deserved. I was not mad at Habib at all. And so when I mean, a lot of people said that that was a bad moment for him. I was like, no, because you can only take so much. I'm not going to put a man in a position like that who is as regimental and structured and is a pure warrior, insult him, his family, his religion, his father, and expect him to be normal at the fight. Not the only way he could act normal is if they were having a game of ping pong, and I guarantee that's some angry ping ponging going on there. Okay, and
I
you
didn't
gonna
think you
give
were
me,
gonna go that way.
and you gonna put gloves, and you gonna put gloves on me and fight and expect me to be all calm the entire fight. I'm surprised that he didn't launch off a Bruce Buffer's shoulder into the crowd and start beating on people.
Well,
Just saying.
what's really cool about Khabib Nurmagomedov is also the fact that he has 3 title defenses, 1 title victory, of course, against Al Iaquinta. That was the whole wow, what happened there?
It was the last minute. It was the
Yes.
last minute. I think it
No,
was a
you
Ferguson.
remember what
It was
happened? Tony
Ferguson.
Ferguson. Yeah. Tony
Yeah.
Ferguson was supposed to fight. We were going to get, this was attempt
It's
number
close.
4, right?
Yes, that close.
And then Tony Ferguson tripped, so they had to find a fighter. That's when Max Holloway came down from Max Holloway,
Whatever he was.
he was weighing 190, tried to make 170 to fight, and he wasn't able to do that. Or sorry, tried to make 155 from 190.
And
He had 6 days to go from 190 to 155. Of course, it was medically impossible to do that. And so the only fighter, because of what happened with Conor McGregor in Brooklyn, the fighters who could have fought didn't get a chance to fight on that card, and those were the fighters. It was Michael Chiesa was higher ranked than Al Iaquinta, but because he got injured in the bus attack from Conor McGregor, he didn't get a chance to fight on that card. He didn't get a chance to fight for the title. Al Iaquinta got to fight Khabib Nurmagomedov for the title and got outclassed. It was a 5-round beatdown, and Khabib Nurmagomedov was crowned champion. The fight against Dustin Poirier was pretty dominant. There was really nothing Dustin Poirier could do.
Once again, you got a fighter who you know how he's gonna fight. That you know how he's gonna fight. He never really changed up his game plan that much that he started doing anything surprising. Y'all knew how he was gonna fight, and yet and still you got in the ring and you had nothing for him. What kind of fighter is that? That's all I gotta say.
So that's Khabib's career. Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that you remember best about Khabib. First one I'm going to think about is him fighting Edson Barbosa, beating up Edson Barbosa, and basically apologizing to him, telling him to give up because the title shot was his and he needed to get that title shot. It's a classic one. Yeah,
he did that to a couple of people.
I think it was Edson Barbosa though, that he was like, "This is my fight, this is my time.
Are you sure?
You're standing in my way." I think it was Edson Barbosa. Yeah.
No, it was the Menace. It was the
Michael Johnson?
Menace. Yes, I think that's who he was pounding into,
Okay.
and tell him to please give it, please stop. Because this is my fight. And he did that. Send me location.
Send me
I mean,
location.
that's yeah, that was the point where I was like, oh man, this dude isn't what y'all think he is. He is real gangster. Okay, he is real gangster on that. Because the look in his eyes, there was talk was for lovers at that point. If Connor had showed up to, or sent him a location like show up, we wouldn't be talking about Connor in the present tense. I'll say it. I promise you
He'd be
that
like that
he
list
was
of
gonna die
Virgos
that
that
night.
you gave us.
Hey man, do you want to fight the Beehive? Huh? Is that what you want? You want the Beehive? You want
No, no,
Beyonce coming
no,
after you?
no, no,
You want
no,
them?
no, no,
Okay.
no. Um,
'Cause-
the yeah, that one, and then the other one, of course, which we can't say on the show verbatim, but number one bull.
oh, that's my favorite now. I had to adopt that one. I've had to
This
use
is
that a
number
couple of
one
times
bull.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So,
Bollocks.
yeah, bull pucky. There you go.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Did
Uh,
you hear about the controversy at UFC 254 and the weigh-ins with Khabib Nurmagomedov?
I have. And it was basically what revolved around him, that they're saying that the scale hit the top and it wasn't really centered when it was all said and done. And I remember seeing that. And I remember hearing Daniel Cormier say it best. Look, y'all gonna see what you're gonna see. Your eyes will deceive you. It was the job of the guy who announced the weight to determine if it was real or not.
Yeah,
So I'm
it's
gonna leave it at that.
yeah,
If that's your best blemish that you can find on this entire pay-per-view, you ain't got it. You ain't got much.
yeah. It's just it's highly suspect that the UFC would somehow or try to hide somebody missing weight. You miss weight, you miss weight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Habib hasn't missed weight for like 6 or 7 fights. So
yeah.
he's got it down. It's very clear. They weigh
Yeah.
multiple times. You know, it's
And I mean, this dude had a hard year, people. That's rise up off of him. Okay, goodness.
mhm.
And it's not like he was ducking underneath a ring or anything like that. God, leave the man alone. Man, I was happy for him that he made it, because I know he looked like, I mean, he was looking pretty bad, but I was like, you know what? He just had a lot of trauma this year, and I didn't. And I'm not gonna lie. I thought it was about 50-50 when he's down to what's the word? His birthday suit,
Yeah.
and that's the only way that he made his way. I was nervous about that, but then again, I remember Cormier does that habitually at towards the end of his career, that he had to be, had to have a towel wrapped around him, and he came out there and still whooped it. So, it was what it was.
Yeah.
Leave it
So
alone.
Javier Mendez said it best. He goes, "They weigh you before you go to the weigh-ins. They weigh you right before you
Hmm.
go out, so they make sure that you're on point." Number one. Number two, if Habib was having problems with weight, why the hell would he be the first one, knowing they were going to weigh him? Like, why was he the first one out?
That is
You know,
true.
he wouldn't want to be the first one out. He'd want to be, but he was the first one out because he knew he was on weight and wanted to get out there and start eating. Like, yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of times when fighters are missing weight, they're the last one to show up to make weight.
Right.
They're dragging their feet as long as they can. Now, if he had shown up late and then this whole suspicious thing happened, then yeah, we could probably say. But dude was the first one on the scales. He knew.
So,
He knew he was on weight.
yeah, I'm not. Hey, once again, not even phased.
All right. Javier Mendez also said that he had no idea that Habib Nurmagomedov was going to retire.
That's and I'm shocked. I'm shocked because maybe Habib felt that Javier was going to try and talk him out of it, which I wouldn't see Javier Mendez seeing the type of coach he's always been, especially towards Khabib, I would, if Khabib makes a decision, that Javier will honor that. And it was really personal. The explanation was really personal. I get why Khabib kept it close to his chest. It was here.
Yeah. The other thing that Javier said, and this comes from MMA fighting. I'm going to give you guys. I always shout everyone out at the end, but what they were saying is that when Khabib Nurmagomedov showed up for camp with Javier Mendez, he had the mumps.
What?
Yeah. So he had the mumps, which is a bacterial infection that is affecting your lymph nodes, and he had a broken toe.
Man, was this on the? This is like Passion of the Christ level type stuff here.
Which is an odd reference for Khabib Nurmagomedov, but okay.
we'll let it run. Okay, we'll let it run. All right. Consider if it was great up here. Okay, it was really good up here. All right. Because I mean, think about it. The dude that played Jesus in Passion of the Christ, he had 104 temperature during filming. He got struck by lightning while he was holding that cross. Okay. Just all sorts of things were happening to him. Same thing with Khabib. He broke his foot. He apparently has mumps. Did anything fall off of him that was important? I mean, at this point, I mean, did he lose an organ?
Yeah, you can't train when you have the mumps. So he probably lost training time as well. So all of these things befell Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Well, I'm sorry to cut you off, but does he ever stop training? Is the question.
Yes, now he does, but I don't think. He did before.
Now.
I think he probably took a couple of breaks and things like that because he's got a family. I think he's got kids and things like that. So you want to spend time with your kids, but I don't think that he was ever out of the gym for very long.
Right.
So, but it's interesting that all of this, when we talk about, let's just recap, a guy who's undefeated, 29-0.
Yeah.
He's 13-0 in the UFC, 3 title defenses, 4 title fight wins, of course. Who fought in his last fight after his father died, taking care of his opponent not to break his arm, but instead put him to sleep so he didn't hurt him, after having complications to training with the mumps and fighting with a broken toe. That's Khabib Nurmagomedov.
That's how you go out on top.
All right, let's go ahead and close the book on this one and put this one on the shelf. This card is history. And let's go into the rest of our articles on Finding the Angles. This is Finding the Angles. This is where we talk about the other headlines making waves in the UFC world. And if you thought that we were through talking about Khabib Nurmagomedov, well, you were wrong. Now we're going to talk about what everyone else is saying about Khabib Nurmagomedov. And we're going to start off with Dana White, the president of the UFC. And he said Khabib Nurmagomedov is the baddest MF on the planet. He said this right after the fight in the post-fight press conference. And he said he's the baddest MFer on the planet. Let's start with there's like a feeling out process for 2 minutes, and then it's on. These two were going. The pressure that Khabib puts on you is unbelievable. Literally didn't respect Justin Gaethje's punching power. Just walked right into everything, did what he wanted. When he started to go for the armbar in the first round, I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to try to pull off the armbar. The second round, he keeps the pressure on. For that submission, he locks it up, chokes it out. Unbelievable. He goes on to say that, we were lucky to have seen Khabib Nurmagomedov this one last time. But Dana White was quick to call Khabib Nurmagomedov the greatest of all time.
Ooh, GOAT.
So
that's a very touchy subject.
So I got a question. We're going to get into it. Just follow the run sheet.
All right.
Follow me now.
I'm with you.
The touchier subject isn't there a BMF belt?
There is a BMF belt out there.
So if Khabib Nurmagomedov is the baddest MF on the planet, which is what BMF stands for.
Yes. I'm sorry, Ryan. Are you
Who is Jorge
believing in
Masvidal?
the?
Who is Jorge
Well,
Masvidal? I don't know who
hey,
Jorge Masvidal is because I thought Jorge Masvidal was the baddest MFer on the planet. But
well, I
apparently,
mean, it's entertaining. This is entertaining because you have finally recognized the BMF belt for what it is.
it's garbage. It's what it is.
No, it's not. It's not garbage. It is a belt. All right, it is a belt to denote the baddest MF on the planet. I'm pretty sure if Jorge Masvidal was there, he probably would have gave that belt to him because he earned
Mm-mm.
that belt.
No.
I think he would have.
Jorge would
I
not
think
have
we
given
would have.
that belt. No.
I think he would have.
Text him. Send him an
You know
email. Call up his gym. Something. Find out whether or not Jorge Masvidal would be willing to ship the BMF belt to Dagestan.
All right, y'all. Just FYI, I'm going to slide on to Twitter while Ryan is spewing this filthiness.
I'm just saying. I'm just saying. There's no way Jorge Masvidal. I mean, I haven't seen his comments about Khabib Nurmagomedov, but I just think it's crazy.
I think he said
that you have a belt called the BMF belt, and then the president of the UFC, who gave out the BMF belt, declares someone not holding the BMF belt the BMF. There you go.
okay.
Take that.
Well, then there. I mean, oh, here we. Hey, I done found him. Let me see if it.
So George St. Pierre says that he doesn't like the GOAT talk, but ranks Khabib Nurmagomedov as one of the greatest of all time. So once again, it's one of those crazy things, and maybe this just lost in translation because George St. Pierre and brain aliens. But
Whoa,
he doesn't like the GOAT
Let's
talk,
not do that.
but ranks Khabib Nurmagomedov as one of the greatest of all time. Greatest of all time. That is what the GOAT acronym stands for. So if you don't like the talk, but you rank him as the greatest.
Well, see, okay, there's GOAT and then one of the greatest. Okay. I get it. I got it. You're right. It's kind of lost in translation. I would consider, when person who is considered one of the GOATs calls on another to believe he's one of the GOATs, excuse me, I believe you can call him one of the GOATs easily.
Here's the thing. It's not the greatest of all times.
Okay.
It is the greatest of all time. Like
he said one of them.
The one. There is one we call the greatest.
Well, the greatest of all time said that he can be one of the greatest. You one of them. Hey, over there,
there is only one. It's like the freaking Highlander. It's the Highlander.
Well, you know how that goes down, right?
You got to chop heads off, man.
Only be, I think they need to get in the ring. They need to see what's what.
I would have liked to have seen it. It would have had to have been at 165, and maybe that's
no. It will not be at 165. It'll be Khabib at 155 and George St. Pierre at 170. That is the only way we figure it out. They've got to go in there and take it out, and we find out who is the BMF then. That's the only way you find out a true BMF.
Why would we hamstring someone like Khabib Nurmagomedov? No, let's fight at 165.
I'm sorry. Does Khabib look like he's ever been hamstringed? Has he looked like he's ever needed a crutch?
But why would you not fight at 165? Like, go ahead and fight at 165.
Because that is because for the simple fact, he is considered the best at 155. He is considered, George St. Pierre is considered the best at 170. Put those two equations there and see who does what. I would not want Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson to fight any heavier weight than where he was considered the best at. That's how you consider the best person on the baddest mofo.
No,
seriously.
No, I disagree with you. I think if you're the baddest mofo, you should fight at a weight that is close to where you're on even playing field, because all those things being equal, you got to make it as equal as possible so that it's about skill, because you and I both know that a 15-pound difference makes a big difference at these lighter weights. Now, if it's a 15-pound difference at heavyweight, that doesn't make a lot of difference. But 15-pound difference between 155 and 170 makes a lot of difference, especially given the fact that Khabib Nurmagomedov actually has to cut weight down to 155. So let's do it at 165.
Royce Gracie took on a 600-pound man in Akabona.
Not everybody can be Royce Gracie, the greatest of all time, hands down. Period. There you go.
Yeah, but I'm serious though. I mean, because if you take them out of their weight classes, you muddy the water with them. Okay.
But it's
because
it's
then they
hand-to-hand
have
combat.
they have two. Go ahead, say it. It's hand-to-hand combat. Oh, I'm sorry. Camera got a little.
You're all blurry
now I'm like this. Okay, I'm back. All right. So, you're talking about the best on the best areas. If you put them in a different weight, not only do they have to deal with the person that's challenging them for the BMF, now they're having to deal with being either heavier or being lighter and not adjusting to be at their best. I want the fighter to be at his best weight to challenge somebody else.
I just completely disagree with you. Like,
Okay.
I don't want George St. Pierre winning the fight. Because he weighed one. No, I know it's not a guarantee, but at the same time, you're talking about George St. Pierre. It's not like he's a slouch that he's just going to get rolled up by someone like Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's a totally different beast. And so George St. Pierre is one of the few fighters who also walked into the ring and you knew what he was going to do, and there was nothing you could do to stop it.
So here it is. We have two fighters who we know what they're going to do to you. And there's nothing that most people that didn't have anything to answer for it. How do you think that's going to end? That's either going to be the most exciting jiu-jitsu, wrestling, dogfight, chess match that we've ever seen, or it's going to be a boring fight.
Well, listen, what you're doing is selling the fight, which we all bought the fight. The fact is the argument is about whether or not George St. Pierre should come in weighing 15 pounds more than Khabib Nurmagomedov, and I'm saying no. You should weigh the same weight. Both fight at 165. Both fight at 170. Hell, both fight at 185.
I say it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm gonna say because of the fighters involved, I don't think it should matter. I don't think
all I gotta say is this: the opinions presented by John Keys on Combat Sports Talk do not represent that of Ryan Smith or Combat Sports Talk in general. For those of you who are listening, please only fire your hate at John Keys at Keys to Victory on Instagram or on Twitter. Let him have it. Don't let me have it. Okay? I didn't sanction this.
Okay, so I'm not even going to defend myself because there is no defense needed. All right. I come from an old school UFC 1 generation. Those guys, I mean, weight class, what weight class? It was open weight. You went in there, you win or you lose. Okay. People who thought that were supposed to win because they're all big and muscular got beat by Steve Jenham. All right. These guys, I mean, there are guys out there, like Ken Shamrock that won. Okay, on impossible odds, they won. That's what I'm saying.
I go back to those were some great fights. Those fights could not happen in the UFC today. You could not put what was it? What was his name? Kimo Leopoldo. Dude was weighing 265 when he fought. So
Ken Shamrock at 217.
What about when didn't Royce Gracie fight Kimo?
Yes, 185 versus a middleweight versus a heavyweight.
So what you're saying is if Francis Ngannou versus Israel Adesanya, we shouldn't have concerns about that fight.
We should not. If Adesanya says he can take him, if Adesanya says he can take on John Jones, okay, I'm pretty sure Adesanya can take on Francis Ngannou.
I just the skill level of the fighters in the UFC today greatly exceed that of the fighters from the early days of the UFC. And so therefore, you cannot have these weight discrepancies. You cannot have it, you would have
I will
murders in the
say,
cage. You just wouldn't do it.
you know, honestly, I wouldn't say that they are superior now than they were then. I would say they're more refined. They're more efficient than what
You're
they
splitting
were.
hairs now. You're splitting
No, I'm
hairs.
not. I'm not
This
even
is a
splitting
game of
hairs.
semantics now. They're more refined. They're not superior. Oh, I'm sorry. The wooden forks they were eating in the 14th century, and now we're eating with metal forks that are mass produced. They're just more refined. They're not superior to the wooden forks that they had to carve out of wood. Yes, they're
I don't know.
superior.
Well, hold on. I have a Spurtle I'm getting ready to buy that's made of wood. It's really awesome. So
I don't even know what a
if you
spurtle
see it,
is. What the hell is a spurtle?
look it up. Look up a Spurtle. Okay, when we're done, go look it up. It's a multi tool in the kitchen.
And
Okay, you
it's
can do
wood.
great things with, and it's made of wood, like the wood that you could pop your kids in the head when they're getting too close to the food. Type
All right.
wood.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
So Dana White says it. GSP says it. A lot of fighters have been saying it. The media says it. The media bumped John Jones from the #1 pound-for-pound position to make room for Khabib Nurmagomedov at #1 pound-for-pound in the latest UFC rankings. So
That did
at
not go
25-0, at 29-0, sorry, 29-0, Khabib Nurmagomedov is now currently the #1 pound-for-pound fighter in the UFC. John Jones didn't like it too much.
That's an understatement. He went full salty dog on it. In the past few major pay-per-views that they've had, major fights have, John Jones has somehow tried to steal the thunder. Okay, from that great moments that they had, John Jones was in there to steal thunder. This was no different than those previous times, except in the fact that it did not work. All right. He tried to sit there and tout his record. Look, I've had so many, I've had 14 title defenses to his 5 title defenses. How can y'all sit there and challenge, say that he's the greatest of all time when I've been doing this? And I can say there's an argument on why we know he is not that he's not the pound per pound fighter. John Jones, now before anybody tries to come for me, I will say it. John Jones is one of the most phenomenal. No, he is the most phenomenal fighter that I've ever had the pleasure of watching. However, John Jones is also a cautionary tale on what happens when you do not believe in the fighting ability that everybody knows that you have, and you rely on PEDs and other drugs, and you get popped for them. That's what John Jones is for me.
Okay. All I got to say is this. By the time John Jones was where Khabib Nurmagomedov was in his career, he'd already had 5 title defenses. I mean, hold on. 1, 2, 3.
He could have look.
5 title.
He could go ahead.
Like he had 5 title defenses. Like this is the thing. John Jones is salty. He has every reason to be salty. Like Khabib Nurmagomedov is a great fighter. We just spent the majority of the show talking about how great Khabib Nurmagomedov is, how loving and respectful he is. All of these great things that make him a great person and a great fighter. But once we start talking about greatest of all times, this is the reason why we're saying, that we're still saying that Ronda Rousey has done way more in title defenses than Amanda Nunes. We know Amanda Nunes has every makings of the greatest female fighter of all time. She just hadn't defended the title enough. Ronda Rousey defended the title so many times. You got to give John Jones some credit. Just because John Jones had popped and had the whole PED thing, just because he had all of those negative issues outside, the dude's resume is too. John Jones's resume is two Khabib Nurmagomedov resumes.
Yeah, including and how many times if Khabib had been popped for PEDs and and that's all I'm going off of. I don't care about your antics outside the ring because we don't pay you for your antics outside the ring. I don't care, I don't care if you're a plumb fool outside the ring. That's your personal life is your personal life. I'm only concerned with your professional life. And in your professional life, you chose to cheat because you were not secure in yourself to be a pure fighter. Hey, that's on you. I don't care what you do after this point. You could continue. You can go back to the light heavyweight division. Heck, you could go and do a division tour and capture all the belts for all I care. The fact that you have been popped dirty is what I'm looking at. And that would automatically disqualifies you from GOAT talk. That's what disqualifies you from pound for pound talk. Because you chose a dirty path. Nobody gets a participation trophy for cheating.
So even if you strike every fight after he got popped, if you strike all of those, he's still got a better resume than Khabib Nurmagomedov. There you go.
What's his record? What's his record before the pop?
I got to count because there's a lot.
Because all I'm going to say, he still lost to Matt Hamill.
It was a disqualification. 2,
somebody has a 1 and somebody has a 0. That's all 5, I'm saying.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. He's got 16 fights. 16 fights in the UFC. Of those 16 fights, let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them were title defenses.
Okay.
So of his 16 fights before he got popped, 8 were title defenses. 1 was a disqualification. It's a better record. And let's not forget. Yeah, Khabib's only fought 13 fights in the UFC. Yeah, he's 29-0, but only 13 were in the UFC. 3 title defenses, 1 4 title fights. John Jones had 7 or 8 title defenses, 9 title fights.
Still,
Al Iaquinta versus Shogun Rua. Who's the better fighter? John Jones versus Lyoto Machida. Machida versus Dustin Poirier. Who's the better fighter?
Okay.
Rashad Evans. Vitor Belfort.
Okay, if we go all the way to to before he went dirty, okay, I would give you that. But
Daniel
he
Cormier.
doesn't.
The first one he fought Daniel Cormier, outclassed him 5-0. No pop on that one.
But he got popped on the other one. I'm just saying.
But
it doesn't matter because he's got picograms now.
But he didn't have picograms on all those other fights. So even if you take away all the fights after the pop and all of those, which all of those are also John Jones defending his title, you end up running into this problem that you cannot solve for, and that is John Jones has built a better resume against better fighters in his time, being the youngest light heavyweight champion in the history of the UFC and perhaps the world. And Khabib Nurmagomedov's record doesn't show that. He didn't accomplish that.
I say that he had 29 chances to get knocked out and lose, and he never did. How about that?
That's
he
great.
Had 29 chances.
That's great. Okay? That makes him, and this is what I said. I was on a discussion group, and this is what I said: is Khabib Nurmagomedov the greatest lightweight in the world today? Yes. Is Khabib Nurmagomedov the greatest lightweight in UFC history? Yes. Is he the greatest lightweight MMA fighter in the history of MMA? Yes. Is he the greatest? Is he the greatest MMA fighter in the world? No. Is he the pound for pound greatest fighter in the world? No.
Yes, because
Absolutely not.
he's done something. He has done something that no other fighter has done. That is in recorded history, and that's retired with an O.
That doesn't make him the greatest pound for pound fighter. That makes him the greatest of his generation. That makes him a dominant fighter. That makes him all these other accolades
in the
that you can
history of
give
the
him.
UFC. In the history of the UFC, find me another fighter that kept his O. Find me one.
Okay.
And I will stop right here and say that maybe he doesn't deserve it. But until he has done something that no other fighter has done, and that is preserve his zero.
Yeah, the other part of that is he stopped way early. Now, we can accept the fact that he stopped early for the reasons that he stopped early for, but the fact is that he still stopped early. So yeah, he retained his O, but he's 13-0.
That wasn't.
Come on, bro.
Hey, O is still an O. Last time I checked.
Now we're starting to put the
emphasis on the O. Okay, so all right,
you're moving that goalpost is what you're doing. Now it's like,
no, I'm not. I'm not moving the goalpost. I will still stick it right where it was originally, and still say that it does not matter what Jon Jones does now until the end of time. Okay, because he is still holding that entire record. He's not just stopping at 8. He's going for the entire record against Khabib. And I'm like, as long as you keep admitting to the entire record, he never went half. He didn't go half like you did. He met the entire record. As long as you keep holding on to that entire record, you cannot be considered the pound for pound greatest. You cannot be considered the GOAT. You can be considered the most dominant fighter out there. I'll let you do that. But as far as the GOAT, as far as the pound for pound, nah, bro, you cheated.
No, it comes down to this. Jon Jones, and this is what I messaged. I actually messaged Jon Jones on Twitter. I responded to him and I said, "Listen, it's post-fight bloodlust. Everybody's super excited about Khabib Nurmagomedov and what he did. That will go away. Just go and fight. Win your next fight. You will get restored as number one."
Did you not see the other fighters pile on him when he was talking? When
it's
he
all
tried
post-fight
to do that
bloodlust. This is what happens right after everybody loses their mind when they watch a pay-per-view, when they're like, "Oh my gosh, this person needs a title shot. Oh my gosh, this person's the greatest of all time." They just start throwing around these superlatives and these hyperbole like it's just candy. Jon Jones fights, it's all going to turn around.
I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, I've always felt like this. Anybody can go and check my opinions. They know how I feel about Jon Jones. I mean, he's a great fighter, a phenomenal fighter,
greatest fighter.
Not
actually.
Not a good champion. He chose not to believe in himself. That's part of a champion's mentality.
This is where it comes down to how you define what a GOAT is, because you know how I define GOAT. But I'm going to say that if you look at the body of work of Jon Jones and you look at the body of work of Khabib Nurmagomedov, and while Khabib Nurmagomedov has done an amazing job at lightweight 155, you put those bodies of works together, Jon Jones has the more impressive body of work, hands down.
If he didn't cheat.
Even if he did cheat. The times that he did not cheat is still more impressive. Okay. Let me go about this, and then we'll go on, because clearly, facts.
We need to
don't
argue
matter
on
to
intelligent defense. Okay, we need to finish this argument on intelligent defense. That's all. That's
There
right.
it is.
Pimp that shirt, man.
Pin the
Pimp
shirt.
it.
We're gonna
There you go,
finish it.
pimp.
We're gonna finish it on intelligent defense right there. There you go.
There it is.
It's our Facebook group. Go. We're gonna have this out. I've already got the thing written, but here's the thing. Since facts don't matter to you,
facts do matter to me. You're being facetious now.
I'm just saying, because apparently you look at the two bodies of work.
I gotta take up Casey's spot.
John Jones defeated in his 8th fight Mauricio Shogun Rua, and then went through his next 4 or 5 fights. Every light heavyweight champion who held the belt, he defeated in a row. Let's not forget what John Jones did in his time holding the belt, because he beat
I could tell you
Shogun Rua to win the belt. Then he beat Rampage Jackson, who held the belt. Then he beat Lyoto Machida, and who held the belt. Then he beat Rashad Evans, who held the belt. Then he beat Vitor Belfort and Chael Sonnen. Those were that was when the UFC made the turn, and anyone could talk their way into a fight. But those 4 fights, Rua, Jackson, Machida, and Evans, when you stack those up against the 4 fights that Khabib Nurmagomedov had, you cannot compare the two. Those side by side, you cannot compare the two, because it's Iaquinta.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Hey, our boy showed up. All right. So we're going to Iaquinta, McGregor, Poirier, and Gaethje.
Okay, so I'm gonna say it like this.
And Vitor Belfort was on TRT at the time.
Yes, he was. He was on testosterone replacement therapy. Yes, he was. So was Chael Sonnen.
So both of them were superhuman when John Jones fought him.
Okay. Yeah.
So side by side comparison, Al Iaquinta versus any of the 4 that Shogun Rua versus Iaquinta. Who had the tougher fight to get the title?
Every fight is a tough fight, dude.
Oh, see, this is when you're just arguing your position.
No.
You're gonna say Shogun Rua and Iaquinta are on the same level? Really?
I'm gonna say that each one of them could knock the other one out. I can say that.
Are they on the same level?
No.
Thank you.
But 29 times he went in that ring. 29 times he could have been knocked out. And 29 times he walked away. Just the same thing with John Jones. He went in there 26 times, and he disqualified himself from 1. Okay, you still lost. All right, whether it was by,
he won that fight. It was considered a no contest.
No, he got disqualified.
You talk about the Matt Hamill fight? Are you talking about Matt Hamill? Oh, he was murdering Matt Hamill. And by the way, I think
he was murdering Matt Hamill.
Al Iaquinta was not even a champ.
That's true. Hold on.
He was ranked number 11.
He was still a fighter.
He was ranked number 11 in the lightweight division.
He was still a fighter.
I think it was 11.
He was still a fighter. He was still a fighter. He still had a puncher's chance.
Yeah, he got disqualified. I thought he was talking about the Daniel Cormier fight, but he was talking about the Matt Hamill fight.
No, not Daniel Cormier.
You're talking about Matt
But
Hamill.
like I said, all right. So if you sit there and say, well, we look at Khabib and he's one of the greatest, and you look at John Jones and say he's the greatest, you're taking the fact that Khabib did not use PEDs and did it clean, whereas John Jones got popped and it's okay.
Listen, all I'm saying is, if you're looking at just the O, if the O is everything you're looking at, then I mean, it's impressive, and like I said, I'm
looking at the fact of
Khabib Nurmagomedov is not one of the most dominant lightweight champions in the history of MMA.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not taking that away from him. All I'm saying is crowning him as the GOAT is unfair to people who have better records or who have better resumes than him. Because my number one guy, my favorite MMA fighter of all time is Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson with 11 title defenses.
Yes.
Where's Khabib?
Now see if you use Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, I can shut up. Okay. Want to know why? Because it's not the fact of how of the wins that he has. It's how he won them.
He has losses.
Demetrius is
losses.
a better. Hey, but guess what? All right, he has a body of work that shows for himself. He cleaned out his division quickly, handedly. Okay, and he did it all while not getting popped.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. By the way,
Okay.
Lepidolite. You gotta type in the correct pronunciation of your handle so I can give you proper respect for your contributions.
We're gonna call you Leo,
on
dog.
The show.
Okay, we're calling you Leo until you do that. All right, Leo. Thank you for joining us on the show. I do appreciate your input on this, man.
Yeah. So you are absolutely correct, and that's what I call post-fight bloodlust. That's what it is gonna be. So Lepidolite. Okay, all right, we got it. I'm gonna have to look it up and see what that is. I hope it's okay. It's not like the blue pancakes or whatever that John was talking about.
Blue waffles, but
blue waffle. Yeah. Boo. Oh my
God. Don't look it up. Don't look
it up. You don't want it.
Oh man, that was
okay. Let's see here. Khabib Nurmagomedov returns to Dagestan, explains the retirement. He goes, "What else is there to do?" I think there's a ton of things to do.
I think he could be a great. I think he'd be a great mentor, a great teacher.
Yeah,
I think he will.
Kind of go the Matt Serra route and become a great coach, well known for his coaching, and he produces a stable of people from Dagestan, half of which have the last name Nurmagomedov. That's really what I see him doing. That leaves a hole at lightweight, and so Chandler is saying that we need to have a four-fighter tournament to declare the next 155er. Conor McGregor is favored. Conor McGregor is favored to be the next lightweight champion.
I do not like
Vegas.
that. I do not like that. I do not like the fact that Conor McGregor is being kicked up to the front over established fighters in that division. I do not like that.
Yeah, well, Michael Chandler hasn't fought a single fight in the UFC, and he's in the conversation.
True.
So,
but he left the competitor as a champion, did he not?
No, he didn't. He got beat. He got beat, and he was fighting his way back to get the belt, but his contract ran out, and the UFC snatched him up. So you got
give me a
Tony
second
Ferguson,
here.
You got Gaethje, you got Dustin Poirier, and you got Michael Chandler. I think that's good. But you also got people like Charles Oliveira, who's trying to get his way in, and he's like, he should be fighting for the vacant UFC belt. I think that's a great one because he's fresh talent. We haven't seen this guy actually be given a real challenge. Like, let this guy fight.
Because I could see. Okay, so Justin Gaethje, does that make Justin Gaethje the interim now?
No,
because he's just out of it.
You can't be awarded a belt after you got choked out in the second round. He got to fight somebody for the
belt. He gets the belt. I'm just saying he gets the interim title. But if that's not even the case, all right, we'll kick him to. No, he goes back to the back of the line.
He gave up his interim title when he lost.
Yes. Okay, so if we look at it, we have Dustin Poirier, Tony Ferguson, Conor McGregor, Dan Hooker. That rounds out the top 5.
Yeah.
Okay. I say we take Conor out of number 4, slide Oliveira in there, and or if you really want to be dirty about it, okay, I say we just let the top 15 just go for it. All right, just go for it. Let them whittle themselves down to when there's only 2. Tell me that would not be exciting. Tell me if you look at that top 15 that you see a boring fight somewhere in there. If you put number 2 versus number 15, that's Dustin Poirier versus Donald Cerrone. Okay, we put number 3 versus number 14. That's Tony Ferguson versus Drew Dober, which has been a while since we've seen Drew. If we see then Conor McGregor versus Gregor Gillespie. Okay, we see Dan Hooker versus Islam Makhachev.
Makachev.
Makachev. Bless you. And I mean that I see. I mean, I could see this going down. Honestly, in a perfect world on Earth 2, where UFC ranks matter, the smart thing would be is to, now that the champion has vacated the title, is to do a tournament to crown the next one.
You do a tournament, but you don't do a 15-fight or 16-fight tournament. You don't do that.
Why not?
What you do
Why not?
is you do an 8 or a 4. You know, I would say a 4. They did a 4-man tournament to crown the 125-pound flyweight title with Demetrius Johnson. Do the 4-fighter, because you don't want it to span. You know how many months that would have to span before you get a title, a new champion. We already know the UFC model says that you have to have an active title holder. Go ahead and have this 4-fight tournament. I like Michael Chandler's idea. You know, I don't necessarily think Michael Chandler needs to be in it, because dude hasn't fought a single fight. But because he's got star power, fine, put him in. Put him, Dustin Poirier, put Tony Ferguson. You know, he's my boy. Justin Gaethje and Conor McGregor. And then you put someone like Charles Oliveira versus Tony Ferguson. They're going to get the title shot of the new crown title, and that's how you round that out and you get it. You know, I
would say, okay, how about this? How about the top 5? That's Poirier, Ferguson, McGregor, and Hooker. Go for it. And have maybe like Charles Oliveira versus Felder. And then the winner of those two
in there somewhere. So maybe you let Charles Oliveira fight Chandler, and then you have your top 2, 3, 4, and 5. They fight for the belt. You've already got, you know, we've already got Dustin Poirier signed to fight Conor, so you get that one out of the way. Otherwise,
there you go.
You know, if you're Dana White and you really want it to be, you know, Coach already feels like Dana White that Dustin Poirier is going to be easy work for Conor. If you're Dana White, you make that the interim title shot, and away you go.
Yeah. That works. That works.
Edson Barbosa is exploring free agency after his next fight. I don't know. I think if I was him, I would try to stay in the UFC. But the problem is, of course, that, you know, you're fighting down to 145 now, and so it's like, the lower the weight you go, the less the audience want to see you fight. So, and you've got a little bit of a log jam right there, because you've got Volkanovski, you got Max Holloway at 145. Stick with the UFC, dude.
Yeah, I mean, unless they offer you I don't know. Stick with the UFC.
Because Barbosa could fight. Barbosa could fight the zombie.
Could what?
You give Barbosa Max Holloway or Korean Zombie, that puts him one shot away from a title shot. Brian Ortega's clearly going to get Volkanovski, so therefore you're in the running for a title shot. Stay where you're at, Barbosa. The grass is not greener for you. But speaking of grass being greener, Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr.
Is that what we're doing? Is that what we're doing? Is that the grass is always going? Okay, I see what you did. I saw what you did, man.
Okay. Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. You know that now they have a BMF belt that they're fighting for.
Really?
It's called the WBC Frontline Battle Belt.
I'm down. I like it. I
think it's dumb. It's just as dumb as the BMF belt, except now I guess they're battling for frontline workers. Maybe it doesn't say in the article.
Well, would you rather see nurses and firefighters duking it out? I mean,
no, but they're going to need nurses and firefighters to pick Roy Jones off the ground.
I thought it was just gonna be a mop, but okay. I mean, we'll take that too. I mean,
Uh,
have you seen
s-
Tyson lately? Have you seen?
yes, I have. Have you seen Roy Jones lately? I mean, he is a
Yeah,
big target.
yeah. I mean, he hasn't missed a bucket of chicken yet. So I mean, it's gonna be pretty brutal.
Francis Ngannou anointed himself the uncrowned champ because Dana White delayed the Stipe Miocic fight until March. So we're not going to see those guys until March. Francis Ngannou, I think he had a good point. He's like, I've only fought like 30 seconds in the past 2 years. I need some more fights. So,
He's got a point.
yeah, I mean, dude needs to fight people, but it
You
doesn't
go
last
through
long enough.
you go through fight camp, 8 and 12 weeks at a time. You're cutting weight. You're angry. You mad, and you get in the ring, and for 30 seconds you give it all, and then that's it.
Yeah, that is the whole reason why I hated running track, by the way, in high school. Because what I was the opposite of Francis Ngannou, but I practiced all week. Like we ran and ran and ran and ran all week. I was a quarter miler. That means I had one lap around the track. I spent hours every week, let's say 8 hours in a week, running around a track for a 60-second race because I was slow, which meant I never won the race. So I would
But
go
you,
and run 60 seconds was my time in high school for a 400 meter. I would come in like 4th or 5th, and then on Monday I would be back again running 8 hours worth of running for a 60-second
oh my
race. This is
god.
what Francis Ngannou is going through because he's going through 8 weeks of training for a 15-second fight, for a 30-second fight. So,
And once again, he's one of those fighters that you know what he's gonna do. It's inevitable, and there's really nothing that y'all can do about it.
except for Stipe, took him down, wrestled him.
He was the smartest one. That's the smartest thing you can do. Take
He
him down,
still ended up
keep
looking
him
like he was
down.
in a car wreck. Did
Yeah,
you see
and we don't.
Stipe's
And that
face
was a
after that
different.
Ngannou fight?
Yeah, I saw that hamburger meat.
He was wearing those Joe Biden glasses that cover up your whole face.
But the thing is, though, that was a different Ngannou. That was definitely a different Ngannou than now.
Well,
And I know we got a different Stipe, but I don't think it's gonna be the same.
all right. Hey, last story of the segment. Frank Mir,
Yeah.
Roy Nelson, and 30 other fighters are no longer with Bellator. There's a whole list,
Ooh.
but Frank Mir is gone. Roy Nelson is gone. It looks like they're starting to jettison some of these old MMA fighters that they took on to try to get some love. And my guess is that COVID-19 and the canceled fights didn't do anything for their revenue as well. So it looks like the Bellator is downsizing and getting rid of some of this older talent. So,
I
you
mean,
know,
it to be expected. To be
it is.
expected. Yeah.
So
Hate to see that happen to Roy Nelson, and I hope the other 28 fighters. I hope they land on some solid ground soon.
right. So John Fitch retired. Let's see. I'm looking at the list. Joe Schilling.
Oh, let me see.
Trying to see if there's any other big names.
Well,
Christina
yeah,
Williams.
we remember John Fitch.
I remember Christina Williams because she's the one that fought that Heather Hardy and blooded her all up. Like Heather Hardy was at the weigh-ins looking all beautiful with her makeup on and her glasses, and then she looked like she got ran over by a car by the time Christina Williams got through with her. We did lots of fun stuff on that one.
A lot of these guys have retired, and John Fitch retired.
Yeah, but it's one of those things where they retired because they were probably getting ready to get cut.
Yeah, I'm looking at a lot of these fighters.
They're
like I said, good luck with the. Huh?
They were older fighters. All right, let's go ahead and get into the end of this thing, and this is the fight card. This is what we look forward to this weekend, Halloween, which falls on a weekend. For those of you who are from the Houston area, you know what I'm talking about. This is the fight card. All right, this is the fight card. This is where we talk about the fights that are coming up on Saturday night. We've got UFC Vegas 12. They're making it back stateside. Silva versus Hall, Saturday, October 31st, 2020, from the UFC Apex Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. We've got 5 fights on the card. Bobby Green versus Thiago Moises. You got Maurice Green, the crochet boss. I sent you the video. Go and look up this video. It's a P3 commercial, but it's an awesome story about how Maurice Green became the crochet boss and how he won his last fight from his back with a triangle choke, which is a really hard thing to do. He's fighting Greg Hardy. That's going to be a big fight. Hopefully he can not get hit in the face. The Trailblazer, Kevin Holland, hometown hero for us here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, is back in Las Vegas fighting Mahmoud Muradov. You got Andre Touchy-Feely in the co-main event versus Bryce Mitchell. I saw a headline saying that the Reebok actually made him some custom camouflage trunks. So I don't know why he wanted camouflage, but maybe he's military and they gave him a special opportunity. But the main event of the evening is Anderson the Spider Silva in his final match versus primetime Uriah Hall. So we're gonna make our flash fight picks. We're gonna make the flash fight picks. I'm gonna let you go first, John. Who you got? Anderson Silva versus Uriah Hall, and why?
Normally, I would say that I would have to wait to see what Uriah Hall is looking like at the day of the stare down and the weigh in. I'm going to go Anderson Silva because thinking of Anderson Silva this being his last fight, it makes me it makes me reminisce on all the great fights, the great things he has done. Not saying that he hasn't slowed down. He has slowed down. I do believe that he will put it all on the line, knowing that this is going to be his last fight. He's going to leave it all in the ring.
All right. Anderson Silva, you never know what you're going to get with Uriah Hall. It's just, it's frustrating because when we start thinking about fighters who had so much potential that never realized that potential, Uriah Hall has to be near the top of that list. Anderson Silva, of course, he's gotten old, and so I'm really concerned that that the age is going to catch up to him. Now, based on what he did with Israel Adesanya, I think that we're probably, I think he might do well. But I'm going to go with Uriah Hall.
Okay.
Just out of youth, and we'll see what happens here. I think that youth will prevail. This is a young man's sport. Anderson Silva is an old man. There's strength, there's size, there's a lot of things that Uriah Hall has going for him. If he's able to get the mental aspects down, then I think he'll be fine. I think he'll finish Anderson Silva off. But if not finish, but win the fight. And we'll see Anderson Silva not win his final fight, but look good in his finale. All right.
Fair enough.
Follow us on social media on Instagram. I'm at Combat Sports Talk.
And I'm at Keys to Victory, and that's Keys with an ES.
All right. If you're looking for George, G-Money Stallworth, a.k.a. Coach, he's at Darkside _ Muay Thai _ on Instagram. And Kalechi is at Push Pull Pray. You can find our website at www.combatsportstalk.com. We do have merchandise. We've got the T-shirt that has the Combat Sports Talk logo. I will be putting the Intelligent Defense Discussion Group shirt link on the website tonight because I promised you that I would. Oh, okay. We will. All right.
What's that? What?
So can you see the comments?
I can't see the comments.
Yeah, the comments. Okay, so here we go.
There it is, right there.
So y'all aren't going to predict Green and Hardy? We can do that. Okay.
Yeah, we can do that for you.
Maurice Green versus Greg Hardy. I know that Maurice Green, he's the guy that I want to see win. I want to see him win. I love his story. I just got introduced to his story, and I'm a sucker for storylines. Whereas Greg Hardy, is kind of the villain that's trying to get, he's like Megamind. He's the villain that's trying to get his life together and be a good guy. I just think Greg Hardy is way too strong. I think Greg Hardy is way too strong. So I'm gonna go with Greg Hardy, but my heart is with Maurice Green.
I'm going to go with Greg Hardy, and my heart is with Greg Hardy. I do believe in such things as the redemption, except when you cheat and you get busted for PEDs and you double down on them. I do believe that Greg Hardy is growing every time he fights, so I'm willing to see the next evolution here.
Does it change anything that Maurice Green is fighting out of Jackson Winklejohn?
No.
Okay. All right.
No.
Because that they're going to come in with a game plan. So.
Don't get me wrong. That's when you say Jackson Winklejohn, it doesn't matter if it's grappling, striking, tug of war, ping pong, tennis, wiffle ball, t-ball. They're coming with a plan. I mean, that's just what they do.
All right. Well, you can find us on our website at www.combatsportstalk.com. We've got merchandise. We also have a link to the Intelligent Defense Discussion Group as one of our sponsors. And you also can see the fight methodology that I talk about that I use to score the fights whenever we have the opportunity to do so. Want to send a shout out to MMA Junkie, MMA Fighting, MMA Mania, Bloody Elbow, and of course our homies at the Intelligent Defense Discussion Group on Facebook. Because that's where we get our stories, and that's where a lot of the discussions start when we are on our show. And that's where John Keys and I are going to continue our argument, discussion, debate on whether or not John Jones has the better career over Khabib Nurmagomedov. And, sir, thank you so much for joining me. On behalf of John Keys, my name is Ryan Smith, and I'm reminding you to keep your hands up, your chin tucked, and throw bombs. We'll catch you next time.